dome. Hoe heet het ding?
In de monorail.
De monorail.
Op de top.
Yes, there we go. Yes.
Weet je wat het is, hè?
Voor elkaar, hè jongens. Je ziet het, hè?
Nee.
De bed komt voorbij en de Vesuvius die barst gelijk uit.
Ja. Die Guinea zit nog zonder stroom.
Je ziet het, hè?
For centuries, the challenge for humans under the surface of the sea was not only finding a way to breathe, but also entering the unknown and facing the fear of possible death. Early myths and legends told of saw-toothed monsters that could tear a person in two with a single strike from their powerful jaws. Chief among the monsters 330 years before Christ, Alexander the Great used divers to assist in the siege of Tyre. Breathing through a simple cane snorkel, they were able to swim underwater and cut the ship's anchor ropes without being seen by the guards on board. Dives of greater depth than the primitive snorkel, and also greater mobility in the water, but the buoyancy of the bag frequently took the diver up to the surface. The diver had to rebreathe his own oxygen-depleted exhalation, a dangerous cycle that leads to carbon dioxide poisoning, unconsciousness, and ultimately death by drowning. The human ingenuity could devise was a pipe tied to a floating air bladder. In 1500, Leonardo da Vinci designed a number of diving devices based on this principle. He also designed flippers for divers' hands and feet to help speed them through the water. But speed was not the problem. Depth was. The human lung is not strong enough to draw air through a tube longer than a meter. To dive deeper, the floating end of the pipe was submerged, and the diver had to keep enough air in his lungs to blow water from the pipe when it surfaced. The possibility of a punctured air bladder was of course a constant problem that demanded immediate attention. There was little progress made over the following 200 years. It's an upturned vessel. Maritime nations were by this time transporting people, merchandise and money across the oceans of the world and losing ships with entire cargoes. So the need for a diving apparatus that would allow salvage became desperate. Lethbridge's device, made of leather, merely fitted over the head and shoulders with no seal and allowed the diver to work only in a vertical position. It was a practical diving bell in 1690. Like all earlier bells, Halley's was an open-bottom chamber. Water was excluded by the pressure of air trapped inside the bell. Additional air was supplied from lead-lined barrels that hung below at a greater depth than the divers. Halley also designed a sealed maintenance helmet with a snorkel to the bell, allowing the diver to walk the seabed at depths that were considered impossible then. But with depth came the agony of pressure. Halley's bell was revolutionary, but like the previous devices, it failed to go beyond natural physics. In 1819, Augustus Seeley embraced Forder's ideas and designed a diver's suit that was the forerunner of apparatus used well into the future. But it wasn't until 1837 that Seeley successfully modified his original and produced this suit, which totally enclosed the diver. The helmet contained a valve system designed to keep the fresh air moving through it. But like so much of history, confusion and controversy surround the authorship of the helmet. Some historians credit Seeley, while others maintain it was designed by the brothers John and Charles Dean in 1823. The design consisted of a metal helmet and shoulder plate that attached to a waterproof suit. Stale air escaped through a one-way valve at the back of the helmet as fresh air was pumped into it. The diver was tethered to the ship above, and yet free to walk the bed of the ocean with unimpaired vision and infinite air. It was in a suit like this one that Australia's first recorded salvage was undertaken in 1852. It was recovered from her. Our diver is wearing a US Navy Mark V helmet, which incorporates the first major change from the Sealy or Dean design as late as 1938. Widespread use of following Japan's entry into the North Australian pearling industry in 1885, cemeteries in Broome, Darwin and Thursday Island were filled with the graves of pearl divers who, wearing the Heike helmet, died of the bends. Of hard-hat divers being sucked into the razor-sharp teeth of the giant fish's mouth. But they were only stories. These gentle giants who grow to 3 meters or more are perfectly harmless. During the latter years of World War II, Jacques Cousteau and E. Gagnon patented the Aqualung, a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, known today by the acronym scuba. It was based on compressed air carried by the diver, and for the first time gave divers total mobility. The ultra-modern apparatus that this diver is using is based on the Cousteau and Gagnon principles, but with years. Her builders called her unsinkable, but the Titanic sank on her maiden voyage. Lying on the seabed almost 4,000 meters below the surface, the big ship remained a mystery. Only a submersible could withstand the pressure of that enormous depth, and a tiny three-man craft called Alvin ventured where no one had been before. Alvin found and photographed a grand old wreck. Small and very maneuverable, Alvin's hull is made of titanium alloy, strong enough to withstand. Submersibles have discovered a great number of shark species not known before. Today, they're plotting the ocean floor like the navigators of past centuries plotted the coasts of the New World, Africa, America, Australia, New Zealand. And like the early discoverers, they could be mapping for humankind a future life beneath the sea. But also under it? Our survival into the future may depend entirely upon the sea, and that may be the best reason of all for conserving what is there while it's still there.